the Playground Experience Live. I have here my lovely co-host April Williams and Kathy B in spirit. Hey, she's waving at you.
Love you.
She's waving at you. She's waving at you. She's there. So
We
yeah,
love you,
we
Kathy.
love you, Kathy. Come out of the 5D into the 3D. Manifest. So we were just talking about before we got on air about just the energies and what's all coming and going on. We said we're trying to come up with a title. It's like, okay, remember who you were or who you be or who you're going to be or whatever to remember is the big thing again because right now it's just like they said about the retrograde. It's a lot of remembering, revisiting, reanalyzing, we going over again, reassessing. All that stuff is making us go right back to the drawing board, seeing about what things work, what things don't work, what things we got to kind of let go, what things that we seeing that are no longer serving us. We are finding ourselves during this time things are coming up on their own. They're like bubbling up on their own. Like I said about the sewer, it's coming up on its own from backing up from the plumbing. And it's like, you know what, you got to deal with it. It's some things that I know even with myself and my experience that I have did, and I pushed it down, you know, just like dirt underneath the rug. Put it underneath the rug. Say, okay, I get it later. And the more and more I walk over that spot, the more that mound of dust is building right underneath that rug. And it's like, you know what? I think maybe you might need to kind of deal with this. And so this is what's going on. It's like the universe is like, I can no longer let you kind of override it, skip over. Hey, you've got to actually deal with it. No shortcutting. And so that's where I'm pretty much at on my journey is a lot of going back. It's a lot of things you've got to watch it. This time is my mind's playing tricks on me like the Ghetto Boys. You got to kind of watch it because it's going and have you things and you believe in things and you're seeing things, you're blowing things out of proportion. I said that also about the Sagittarius when I talked about the moon and said that over exaggeration to watch it about these illusions and finding yourself falling for it and things are not the way how they seem. That's a big thing that's going on too. I've noticed that with myself. Really have to tell myself anchor. Really seeing about the heart, checking the heart. Yeah, it looked like this, but what does your heart say? You know, and it coming down to saying, you know what, that's not really what's going on. So it's really a retraining of the mind and the heart and getting them disconnected to the mind because this mind is not doing so well during this retrograde. It's like it really is trying to compute, it's trying to analyze, and I'm like, I feel like a computer system. I'm here saying like wrong, it's trying to compute, it's trying to analyze, and I'm like, I feel like a computer system. I'm here saying like wrong. wrong. I guess that's the universe coming back to me saying, yeah, wrong. Your mind is not right.
I'm feeling this way too. I'm feeling totally lost up in this. Well, I am doing the most right now, to be honest. I think people can see because I did decide before this. I decided I was going to go on Instagram and tell everybody that we're doing live our show right now that we've been doing every week for almost a year and a half. Have we already had an anniversary? I feel like we've done this so many times. Did we have an anniversary episode?
I don't think we did. I think you kept it running. When did we start this show? When did we start?
Sometime during a holiday season, right? Or was it
a holiday?
It was like around Thanksgiving-ish. But it wasn't last year. It was the year before, I thought.
Yeah, we
never had an anniversary show.
We sure didn't.
Oh, we're live right now for my girlfriend just came on. Oh, I haven't seen you in so long.
Hey,
We got a live show right now on YouTube. It's out of the Playground Experience. I'm about to turn this Instagram off. But I want to let you know that we've been doing this show live.
Right. Please come over.
Okay, let me end this real quick.
Come on. Won't you come? Come on over. And talk to us.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, dude, seriously, I feel empowered because I've already empowered myself. However,
Big butt.
everything that I thought was going to come to pass and come to terms really has come to pass and come to terms, and it's something intense to deal with. Ole, just a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness, this baby boy is in the mood. No, this is not for you. This is mommy's salt. Actually, this is a blessed and sanctified salt. In fact, I could.
I'm gonna bless the house with it.
Yes, with everything else too. Before the show, he poured chocolate everywhere, which was really
Sure
fun
did.
for that
Chocolate
passion and love. He's doubling down on loves and doubling down on my nerves. No, I'm just
Yeah.
I love my baby. I'm very thankful. No, the energies have been really intense. It's more like proving ourselves completely correct in a lot of the situations that we've been going through. I can see overthinking. I can see
Yes.
not trusting the actual intuition that we have. I can see a lot of second guessing, but we're all moving forward. And in a sense, a lot of us are moving forward in positivity. For those of us who are on the channel, who are been here from day one, and you've gone through the meditations with us, and you've gone through the understanding of the mission, of understanding and your detachment from that, but still becoming that. The defining the self as the divine feminine and knowing her power. We've anchored in our power. We've anchored in our unification as a twin, as a higher energy, as a woman or man or in between on the spectrum of spiritual greatness. And so I wanted to invite everyone to check out past episodes. We just added this channel, so not all the episodes are here, but all the episodes, especially the earlier episodes, have some really, really great advice from Kathy D about concepts, as well as some really deep and clear energy work and meditations done by myself, and some fun, like interesting card from, well, you know, you've always got all the insights. You know all she knows all the
channel. Yeah, I do channel and cards.
yes. So I'm like, how do we define her? She's undefinable.
Undefinable.
But she is definable.
I am. I'm not omniscient. I'm omniscient. Yes.
So
yes.
we really do suggest you go and take a look back at it, because this, in these stages, you'll actually see that it's been so long that you've most likely accomplished a large portion of that, what you were aiming at, but it's a matter of pushing for that breakthrough. Because I feel like a lot of us are still in our own comfort zone. We're still allowing ourselves to find comfort in a little bit of the bad habits, a little bit of the negative self-talk, a little bit too much drama. You know what I mean? A lot of us have been creating this simply because that's what we're comfortable with. And fully stepping into love, fully stepping into this next stage, which is leading on to our event this Sunday, which I highly suggest you check out this free event. It's going to be a lot of really great speakers. Strong opening meditation to get us prepared for what it really means to be love, what it really means to be in love, not only with yourself, but with your experience, embodying fully who we are. And that's going to give so much power to our words, to what we're creating. You see, this whole process has been a serious growth experiment, I guess. And once I'm seeing a crab right now, or like a hermit crab, you know how they get a shell and then it becomes too small, and then they go and they hunt and they get a new shell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing that happening. And
Okay.
so we want to step into this whole big grand adventure, but we need to get comfortable moving out of the shell, which means being fully exposed, right? Because there's a process when you're moving that you are exposed. There's a process when you're uncovering you to the next level and the leveling up, which we had a whole episode on leveling up.
Right.
um, it requires being a bit uncomfortable. That's also part of the growth process. And then there's the forgiveness stages. It's almost like rebirthing in this retrograde. Um, and rebirthing to something we or someone we've already known, an energy in a space we already have been with. And that is the forever where. So, like, I don't know, playground experience is an exclusive, inclusive, that's the word I'm looking for. The playground experience is an inclusive experience that involves the spiritual ascension and uprising of all people in all stages.
Right.
There is an underlying theme for the primary of how we all met in terms of twin flame energy and twin flame existence and synergy and the rising of the planet. Hence, ascension life coaching. All of us being basically ascension life coaching from different perspectives. Aloha, charm. Aloha.
Hey, child.
So, as we step into this new world, which has anchored herself, now it's a matter of us moving and shaking it all out. And we're doing it all around the world. Some of it is not very pretty. The stuff that's uncovering itself through the kind of falsities and things just downright aren't okay with our government systems and our education systems, and everything's shifting and changing, and it's being forced to look at. So I'm like, go in channel mode.
Wrong to do you. You do you.
Click or not to click. Click.
Click it on. Do it. Do it.
So our systems are falling apart to be rebuilt. And
True.
those who, I'm just going to add a lot of colloquialisms and other things are going to flow through. So here we go. So those who don't stand for something fall for everything. And those who really know who they are, which they've anchored in time throughout purposeful intentional creating, be it writing of the future, being, the purposeful manifestation, 2-cup method type stuff. We've already done this. So this is why our episode today is focusing on remembering who you are, remembering your power. We've all gone through a lot of breakdowns in humanity. And if you're looking at us on a global scale as global citizens, our world, the major parts of it are falling apart. And if you look at the importance of where this huge battle is taking place and where these people are sacrificing or have been sacrificed, either way, we look at this and we want to honor that, because it's not something that hasn't been building. It's not something that hasn't been rising in this time. But we also need to look for within and how that's been rising within us and what we have been disacknowledging. And it's usually something very clear and something very simple that we're ignoring, but we have to choose to step into this space. And that's why I keep referencing back to our previous shows, because holding ourselves accountable to who we were in that space and the power that we brought in shows us just how powerful we are right now, especially when we're feeling a little bit lost and heavily concerned in this retrograde. Like, we're all having a lot of heavy stuff come through, a lot of clearing going out for ourselves personally, for our family lines. Some of us are picking up on people all around us,
picking up from the twins.
Exactly. And
Like,
so,
is that my energy or your energy? Hold on a second. Somebody, oh, okay.
yes,
It's
but
yours.
in an effort to send it back, right? Or
Right,
in an effort to shut it off, we're shutting off a part of ourself.
right.
And we're basically trying to be ninjas, like we're in the Matrix, avoiding everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas once you finally realize that you are the Matrix, you are the space, right? It flows into you and then you alchemize it and it changes around you, right? What happened when Neo actually stepped into the Matrix and was like, I am the Matrix?
Right. That's when it became easy. He was like,
He's like, I'm doing this for show, right?
right,
Because you
right,
guys like the art of the dance, but really
right.
it's flowing with these pains that are coming out, flowing with these self doubts or this self
Yeah.
ridicule or however it's coming through for you. Um, you know, there's a lot that can be said about loving yourself. There's a lot that can be said about clearing your energy and your path and standing strong for you, right? Because we are, in essence, claiming our balance. We are, in essence, claiming our divinity. Not divine masculine, not divine feminine, but our divinity.
True.
And therefore, by claiming the divinity, you are claiming divine masculine, divine feminine, and everything in between. That is you, right? But then also, your divinity claims your humanness, right? Your humanness is acceptable in divinity. Oops, I farted is acceptable in divinity. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Oh, I had my lipstick's not right, or my, I little ashy or something. Or, I'm trying to find some kind of negative human aspect. I can only think of funny ones, but
Right. That's all right.
but claiming your humanness, your rawness, the smell of you, your earthiness. This is what makes you even have the attraction to your other, right? It's what makes you have that desire to connect. And so when you find that, you find the richness of other things change as well. You suddenly start to see Earth different. You see your food differently. You see what you are connecting with differently. You experience life at a more rich and full level. And so,
Hmm. Hey, Vanita. And that's so interesting. So while you were talking, I was pulling cards. So this is going to be like a playground slash pulling cards, a reading at the same time about the twin flame collective. So I would be tapping into your energy and asking you. So we'll kind of like tag team on it. So the overall energies when I did it, it had, came up with, and this one's the funny one. I can't do it too much up in the screen. Too much. If you ask me to get closer, I can't do too much. This one is the thinking woman. Is it the way I can? Hold on a second. What's that one to the side? They do it like this one, and then you can see it a little better because I can't put it up there. This thing will stop, full stop. So then we have the thinking woman. So for what I see here, it seems like overall in our spirituality, as we're saying, we're doing a lot of processing. Let's put it that way, spiritually within ourselves, because it's got stairs there so we can be able to ascend to go up higher. You also got this butterfly here, which is yellow, which to me is about in our identity and our authority of how we show up in the world. But we're doing a lot of thinking. We're trying to gain a lot of knowledge. Some of that knowledge gaining is about going back into the past, because again, let's not forget, because sometimes if you go in the past and you fast forward, you bring that knowledge forward, you can see about what things I like, what things I don't like, what things you say, hell no, I'm not going to repeat over again. So this is where we are collectively when we're talking about spiritually in our divine feminine energies collectively. We're all, rather you're in a female or a male body, we're all thinking, we're all processing. Again, it says out processing. So we're out processing information as well. The spirit said right now, well, overall, what we are doing is experiencing new beginnings. So that's again what we talked about before, and it's in purple. So again, these downloads. Many of us are getting downloads. I know I ain't got ascension downloads with the headaches going on, the massive, bad migraine. My God, I feel like somebody took a hatchet and just said, cuckoo, and this right here down my head. It just split it in half. My sinuses was on fire. Felt like if they was busting out. It was horrible. So these things here, these downloads. But then afterwards, I heard Kathy D say, you know, when you had them headaches, we in for some good stuff. So again, these massive downloads that having here too as well, which is opening up for us to be able to have these beginnings. And I see this flow of water. This is beautiful. This card, it's got this flow of water that's there too. These beginnings also to me is like a ripple effect that's happening in us emotionally. It might be stirred up, but at the same time, it's like a pebble. Some of us have had stillness or not movement. And in some ways, we need to have that so we can really be able to not be distracted about what's going on around us. Because I see the word stillness and that's interesting. Stillness and standstill. They want us to really have hope. I know really with everything that's going on here, and it's got the color red here, so we got to get rooted, grounded. What you said, be grounded right now with these energies that's going on, so we can really truly have this dove, which is peace. Um, Understanding with this hope here is like no matter what is showing up in the 3D or the illusion of it all, still within that is like we got to get that, like the Bible verse said, that that peace that passes understanding. It's got to go beyond that. And they show me like this. It's got to go beyond that. And that's why I said this mind right now at the beginning is not going to get us there. I mean, we could think, but it's going to take a little bit more ingenuity that's coming from the spirit for us to be able, because the color is green. So that means that's the heart chakra, really being in touch with that for these times that's going on now. Because again, like I said, things are not the way they appear. They play on me like seeing like a fun house in some mirrors right now. So it's like, again, like, you know, when you go in the fun house and you look, say, oh, there you are, and you look, it ain't no but a mirror, and the person's way over here. That's not them in the mirror. There's so many things that's going on in images in the fun house of mirrors, and you like, I thought that was the person. I thought that was the person. I thought that was the person, and they're not that person. So that's why I say right now, they're really pushing for stillness. I see here we got the swan, so that would be like with the twins too as well, because right now in the destiny, these are the destiny cards here, sacred destiny, stillness. Swans are known, I know, also for like if their partners are gone for a long time, they understand that. I'm seeing like that video I watched one time, and they took the female because she had to get something fixed. I don't know, it was the arm or her wing, and the male, the husband was just sitting there, and then as soon as she came back, they dropped her gently back into the pond, and they came back together, and they were just like neck and neck together, like, oh, this is my wife, this is my husband. They was just gently, and they put their little beaks together, and they was just like, okay, side by side. They went to one side, this their beaks, and they going this their little head, this side, and then they just swam off together down the little pond together. But he didn't look like he missed the beat. He's like, I'm just waiting here till you bring my wife back. And so this is again being okay with the stillness with where you are, knowing that whatever it is, as far as you and your person or whatever it is that you want to come with you, we'll know that you're just in that stillness of just that knowingness. That's why I say it keeps on saying this peace that goes beyond understanding, this peace that goes beyond understanding. So it's like you're not going to understand it, but that's why the heart plays a part, because it'll tell you like it's good, it's all good, it's all good. I know it don't look right, but feel your heart. What it say? This is all working out for my good. So you have to come back to that. And then they said here, is this the crane? Is this crane? What's that? Is that crane again?
It sure is. Oh no, it's a pelican. Looks like a pelican. It's a pelican. That's a pelican.
So that's what it is. So even though in the DM energies in the world there, you feel as if right now you can't do anything. It's not going the way you want to in the way.
Hey, baby.
And make sure that you understand to just stand.
You ate the
Okay, that's all right. It's for you to stand still. So the DM energies, because the crane always represents the DM. So again, not movement. So that means even us, no matter what you're in, what body you housed in, female or male, there feels like it's a standstill. It's like they say, somebody say it's like a standoff. I don't know who said that, but that's kind of like where we are right now with the energies. Where I am on time, and let me go. So next one. So I asked the angels, the angel cards about the divine feminine energies. So the divine feminine energies right now is attracting. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. That means, again, go back to what April said. You got to be grounded right now. You're in the moment right now. Are attracting everything. I know I heard somebody said that right now that we are major manifestors right now, and we've got to watch what we're manifesting, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we're attracting that to us. And it seems like to be present in the moment, you could be able to appreciate the beauty of the process. This is what they're saying. The beauty of the process of it all. She's in green again. That means getting to the heart space again. Her head is red. So that means again to me that's that knowledge of that being grounded, even in your thinking, because her head is red. So you need to be grounded in that as well.
No, you can't play with that. I need that.
Okay, and so we have also to clarify that is because right now we're looking for really what's truly home. There's no place like home. And it seems like to me, again, like if you think about GPS, like, you might be here, there, and everywhere, but when you come back home, whether it's your parents' home or whatever, it's nothing like that love and that feeling that you get, and really understanding the center of it
Here,
all.
color on the paper.
Something else I had seen, that's all right. I seen the other day, and they were talking about, oh Lord, they were talking about how we have a tendency that, in some ways, it's like going out there and wanting other things, but understanding that. I think it was what is it, Lord? I was listening to her. But that's not image. But is this something about us understanding about that home and how we've got to stop looking for the answers to be outside or what's going to satisfy us on the outside? Understand it begins and ends with us. And that's why I say about that attraction. That's why we got to kind of get our minds together because it's very important that we understand that we're attracting these things to us, our divine feminine energies. And if we're kind of all over the place, especially with these times and it's being very turmoil and kind of chaotic as well. We have to make sure that we are grounding ourselves with that because right now there's probably a lot of messages that's coming to us and that's attracted to us to tell us about how we should be going in our divine feminine energies. And these are not the norms, maybe for us. I know we talk about numbers and synchronicities and things like that. So I would say, even with us, like sometimes you think about it, like, okay, like this morning, I like source, I need help in forgiving this person. I don't know how to do it. And then the next minute, I got Jennifer calling me and saying, oh, about one problem. And then I was like, well, while we're talking, can I talk to you about this problem? And she helped to heal and help me with the forgiveness on that part. So again, it's coming from, I wouldn't even thought in a million years she would have came. I would have thought there's somebody else in my circle that would have, but she came. So my thing is sometimes you'll find answers in other sources than your regular people that you go run to get. So this is what the divine feminine energies have to understand, that you're going to get things not on the regular, some things that you wouldn't even think about. Maybe somebody you pass on the street, maybe your mom out of the blue might say a statement to you and you might say, hey, that kind of resonated. Okay, all right then. I always call it, that's the 911 line. Like that didn't really come from you, that came from someplace else. And that's why I call it 911 line, where you get people give you information that you're not the likely suspect, you're the unlikely suspect that I would think that will help me with this, what's going on with me. And in the divine feminine energies here, they say in order for us to, what we need to do, the solution to this is that we need to heal ourselves. We need to do some energy healing right now, about because that's going to help us to make sure that we are attracting the things that we need, uh, the right one, put us on the right track. This way is saying you can get somebody else to help you, but I also feel from spirit and sources saying that it's starting with us first. Look to us as the resource first, they're saying, then looking on the outside to do that. And if there is something that you cannot do, then yes, that's when um, they will bring the resources to help you. Just like when I said, I'm trying to forgive this person, but I just can't. And then spirit brought the unlikely suspect to come and help me out with me forgiving about what the person had did. So that's one thing. I've been asking God to help me with having compassion and forgiveness towards people. I'm having trouble with doing so. Yeah. And so that kind of helped to clear and reset on that. I found that's a lot of things on that too as well. Let's even stop. Let's pause for the cause, and then I'll do the DM next. April, how do you deal with the forgiveness thing? Because that's popping up a lot with people.
So in terms of the forgiveness, I actually go through the universal, what I would call a universal channel. And that's going into the oneness, and the oneness being that you chose. First, you take responsibility. You choose that you chose.
Okay.
Right? Once you choose that you chose, you have power to then go and actually forgive yourself for choosing the experience that you chose.
Okay.
And then I go through an empathy practice where I see their perspective. I don't necessarily say that what they did was right or wrong, but I understand that they did what they did, right? And then I understand that I chose what I chose. And then I go back into what lessons, because every experience that turns to be what I deem as a negative experience is a learned lesson. But then it's also, why did I choose a negative experience? I can choose more positive and more positive experiences. And in fact, I'm getting reports of people around me having more positive and more positive experiences. In fact, I'm starting to realize what's going on around, and I'm saying, oh, thank you. I see these experiences. They must be getting closer to me, the vibration I actually want to have. Because if everything really is a vibration or part of that experience that I chose, then I can choose better. Then I can allow for better, that I can resonate into the experience I actually want to have. And then also take responsibility when I see something that is off line or off kilter. I say, what can I do to change this experience? Or what can I do to stop a type of thing out in the external world, just like stopping something negative on the internal world. Like when you don't see red flags, but you still have a bad relation, you go through the process of having the negative relationship with the business or the, the experience. Usually we know before we actually go through it that it isn't something that we want to be doing or have done. So, forgiving ourselves for that part of it too. So there's multiple layers to forgiveness, but you have to be willing to forgive, or being willing to no longer define yourself by that level of forgiveness. Yay, she's back.
She's right on time to it. Kathy D, I know you got an answer for this. I want you to send an answer on forgiveness. So I'm going to hit you next for the answer of how do you forgive a person. Okay, finish up going, April. Oh, yeah, the baby talk. Okay.
And that concludes our message.
Shut up. All right, Kathy D, I'm going to throw you underneath the bus. Let's roll. Well, how do you forgive somebody? Because I said I was having a problem, and Mimi is having a problem too.
Well, and I'm sure April and everybody have touched on this, is that, of course, forgiveness isn't for the other person. Forgiveness is for yourself. There are multiple ways to forgive a person. A lot of it depends on what it is.
Okay.
If it is, you have to look at the situation and you have to see your part in it. So, were you having a bad day? Did something catch you off guard? Were you triggered by something? So you observe that. And then once you figure that out on what your part in it was, and then maybe you triggered them somehow, you can, in prayer, ask for forgiveness and ask for them to be forgiven. You can journal it. You can write a letter and then burn it and release it into the universe, asking that the universe take this, transmute that energy into love and light, and send it to them, especially if this is something that is a habitual thing. If this is that maybe somebody's got a really bad temper and they really need to work on it, they know, the whole family knows, we're just say a family member knows they need anger management. This is something that hasn't, gotten better. It's been like this since they were a kid. That's when you call in and ask for divine assistance on that.
Okay.
You can, like I said, meditate on it. You can go to prayer on it. You can journal in it. You can even do, release activities with, whispering a prayer into bubbles.
Oh.
Give it a childlike, playing with it. So get the little bubble wand and, you do the Ho'oponopono prayer. I never say that thing right. But go through that, but then give it, instead of, making it generic like that, make it very personal. Put in the, I love you because kind of thing. I apologize because. So you take responsibility and then you forgive them. So, I mean, and it goes down to, you can take the paper, you can shred it up, you can soak it in water. If you've written a letter of an apology or wanting to transmute it, you can put it in a flower pot, put soil on it, grow seeds out of it. You can even just plant just a simple plant, go get it, plant it, speak over it, speak blessings over it, that, you plant this in honor of the love you have for this person, and in forgiveness, depending on how big it is. If this is something that has gone on for a very long time, you plant this plant and you speak over it, and you ask that, Gaia come in and, through earth energy, and bless the plant, that would then in turn bless the person. You can give the plant to the person with that, or you can grow it yourself. And as it blooms, grows, and becomes, a nice, strong, healthy plant, you then see your relationship that way.
Yeah. I found that forgiveness, it came up. I got a trigger of someone doing the same thing over, and I was like, okay, this again. Oh Lord, when are you going to get off of this? It's just like we're going to keep on repeating the same lesson over and over again. And I'm like to myself, it's like, okay, now, let's look at it. I've heard videos saying, if it's coming back and it's re-triggering you again, it's something that you have not really truly addressed, something you have not maybe forgiven like you're supposed to. And I was like, oh my God, And so that's why I said that part, when the person just keeps on hitting down that same, like you sitting that same note. Okay, I forgave you. Now you're coming back and you're doing the same junk over again. And so now it's like,
this is why
about you, and you keep hitting the same note.
This is why I think that point of what is the lesson in this process, because you are also choosing to be a part of that lesson again yourself.
Right.
And so by you changing how you act towards the situation. Oh, that's weird.
That was me,
sorry. Okay, I was like, it's in my head. See, that's the retrograde. Like, you're feeling like you're crazy for real.
You?
Like, you have such a similar voice to my own.
God,
which brings
are you
that.
Talking to me again? I
know. But in terms of forgiveness, you really need to learn a lesson so you can forgive yourself, because you deserve a different experience. And that's why changing your vibration requires that vibration of the additional lesson. So you're no longer attracting the same thing. Or when you see someone else having that pattern themselves, it's not that you judge them or stay away from them or whatever it is. You have to do what you need to do for your particular situation. But you're able to say, okay, where am I having a pattern? Because that's what I used to do when I saw people in their particular struggles, was figure out what's their patterning and how am I also mirroring that patterning. Because as without, so within, as within, so without, sort of thing.
Right. Right. Yeah, you
Mhm.
have to watch it too on this retrograde because it'll be like it's the same thing. And when you sit down, it's like that wasn't what they was doing. But see, you got that fear and you just whew, into that. That's why I
That
say
lens.
that lens, that
Well,
perspective. And that's why I say it's just very important that you really become centered into it. I don't know if you were listening because I was doing a reading too about with the energies as well. And I
no,
was
I won't.
how important that it is for us to anchor in right now because these illusions and this over exaggeration with this moon energies can and it's retrograde, we could get swept away. And like she said, it's a good thing about also about the lessons to go back and look again, like, okay, why do I think this is repeating again? That's just like a teacher. We know that when you do that, repeating, I mean, you didn't learn. You got to go back, remediation lesson, reteach over again, and for you to do that. So it's very important for you to sit there and say, stop. Okay, this keeps on happening. What is the lesson? What's the lesson and what's the blessing that you want me to get in all of this?
It can feel really empowering, but also very heartbreaking to see where we've been hurting ourselves too.
Yeah,
And that's what I was
Um,
going to say. When we look at the situation with forgiveness, and we see our ourselves, we kind of look to see where we're doing this. A lot of times, it's not when we're doing it outwardly to someone, like April just pointed out. As within, so without. It is a lot of times what we do to ourselves. At this point, I have found with this retrograde, we're seeing a lot of this wounding that we've done to ourselves.
mm-hmm.
Where are we not standing up for ourselves, or where are we putting ourselves down, or where are we turning our back on ourselves? um Benita and I had a great talk last night about this. We went out for dinner and we sat and we just actually talked about a lot of the stuff that was going on with retrograde, and so much of this is what's going on. We have to look deep. It's not going to be something like where you're going to go surface level and go, oh yeah, that's it, okay. I mean, some of this stuff is pretty deep that we're gonna find,
Mm-hmm.
and it's actually a lot of it is, like April said, it's inward, and it's what we've done to ourselves, not as much what we've done to others, because
Right.
that's going to be quicker to notice. We're going to recognize that because that's what we've kind of been doing through this whole process of this healing. And this is where this retrograde comes in, and we have to reevaluate ourselves. We're into those words. We're
Right.
reinventing and reevaluating and
I would almost say
restructuring.
re-embodying
Right.
too,
True.
because of all of those moments where we had fight or flight, where we had survival mode kick in for us as children, I think are
Mhm.
really mirroring and echoing and clearly peeling themselves out of our in our inner conflicts, or in our conflicts within relationships. And so we're starting to all see the patterning. Like last week, I took those notes on the years, which was 35 years. Was it 1, 2, 5?
13, 13 in there.
I have it written down, but clearly not where I could find it, right? Yes, 35, 18, 12 or 13,
Right.
5, 2, and 1. And I went through that to see what patterns and what situations I had been going through, how to start clear that out. Well, that lended itself to, so I mean, I can't even speak. This
That's
is how retrograde.
retrograde for you. That's retrograde for you too. Barbara going.
It's like that double speak thing, Mercury in retrograde on Gemini or something like that.
Right.
Oh
Yeah.
my. So I went and looked at all those patterns. And then once I started clearing all of that and forgiving and actually going through that process of, okay, you chose this experience, I'm going to go through and say, I forgive all of this. And what's the lesson I'm learning from it? How can I be in this existence where I'm not overcompensating for that as well, right? Because that's another level. Like we can go the complete opposite, as opposed to avoiding something or staying away from something. We can dive headfirst into it and like
Yeah.
overindulge in it and like,
Yeah.
really start to attract certain. I'm laughing, but I was, during the experience, you probably cried, right? Like,
Mhm.
these are some, I don't know, there's something in me that just laughs when I'm like, this is ridiculously hard. Like, anybody? Who set this up? Oh, me? Oh, okay. Let me just forgive myself for just a minute here.
Right.
And then and then come to that space. What's good about laughter is it changes the vibration of that experience.
True.
It allows you to loosen your grip on it, because if you tighten your body, you start to have what they call is like somatic memory. So for instance, if you start exercising on a regular basis, doing the same exercise, the exercises you do become easier and easier, and they're very habitual, right? So when you go to do other exercises, those actually start to challenge you and make you feel like you're working much harder, even though you've gained a lot of strength from doing the exercises repetitively. So in that sense, your body knows it. Now, if you change up that vibration, your body has the opportunity to learn something new, to have a new experience. We have to ask ourselves, are we in that habitual exercise? Be that an uncomfortable situation that we keep putting ourselves in, or those awkward experiences that we keep seeing in terms of the patterning, or, even in a sense of, I don't know, I feel like it's mostly negative reward stuff that's coming up right now. Like coming up and out is the negative reward stuff. Like, okay, this is familiar. I'm weeding this out of my situation, but I'm not exactly sure how to fully do it. And so we come at it from several different angles. But then if we just take a step back and realize, oh, we don't have to play this game at all, right? What is the true form of this? How do I even, I don't know. It's a weird, okay, the card you came up with, which cleared it to me was, and something said this, women think a lot. Our energies are just really chatterboxy and like contemplative and trying to get stuff done. And like Mission Impossible, we're doing all the angles, right? We're MacGyvering. But I hear, and somebody can confirm this, Samuel, I think you're a male, but if you are a male, can you not think? Can you have like no thoughts? Now, this is also training that meditation gives you. It gives you the ability to have space so that you can actually receive messages from you when you have no thoughts. So if we just put down we have to solve this, we have to get out of this, this is survival, we're in fight or flight. If we can just put that out to, I'm just experiencing this. This is happening. Instead of putting any type of energy into a negative manifestation, we're allowing the universe to bring in space to answer the things we've already put out. And then based on what is happening, we have to choose again and again not to put a negative connotation on the current experience, but to actually allow in what the universe wants us to have. And it's very interesting because we like to think, oh, this negative thing, we must be being punished, or there must be this and that associated with it. And it's like, no, we're actually associating punishment with this. This is actually just result, right? But we all know that if you do the exercises enough and you're doing them wholeheartedly enough, you actually start to see changes. You actually start to see changes in result. And then when you're switching up exercises and you're doing different muscle groups on different days, or you're doing weightlifting and aerobics and this and that, you start to see change even faster. But it's not so much also, that...
Oh, no, go ahead, finish, and I'll jump in because it'll go with what you're saying.
I think I'm done. I think I was so ready. There was a lag.
Elvis left the building. I'm sorry. Elvis left the building.
I'm all shook up.
Yeah, I seen him when he left. Well, thank you very much.
And like April was saying, as we work those different muscles and we take that time to look at things and not put a label on them that it's not being punishment or it's because of this or because of that. We have to also remember that life happens for us, not to us.
Right.
And so that there's always a lesson in it. And so we should, if we're really having trouble understanding or seeing, we did this exercise a long time ago. I don't know if you remember the glass ceiling and the glass floor and the drop down. So if you're having an issue with someone, you imagine yourself, you run the whatever happened, that scenario through your mind again, and you see it, and then you drop down like a floor. It's not like a, Tower of Terror at Disney World, like a heavy drop, but you're like looking through a glass floor up at the situation. And so you're removed from it, but you're still watching it. So you're seeing yourself, you're seeing the other person, and you're seeing the interaction. And then you drop another floor, still being able to see, but at this point, not being able to hear what's being said. So when you're back a floor, you could hear the inflection of the voice, maybe not the words as clearly, but how things were said.
Okay.
How the dictation was said. Was it curt? Did you take it the wrong way? And then you drop that other floor, and you just watch the body language. And that body language is going to tell you so much, because so many times we have to remember, hurt people hurt people. And so when they seem like they're lashing out, when you just pull that sound back and you replay it in your head and you just watch the body language, a lot of times you're going to see that hurt inner child. You're going to see, is it abandonment? Is it unworthiness? You're going to start seeing those moves, because if you've ever seen a child, and it's actually, quite clear to us because we teach. And so we've seen kids in these
Yeah.
situations. We know the signs of a child that hasn't had breakfast or doesn't get the attention. But when you ask for, as you go through this exercise and you ask for guidance through it, make it plain, make it clear, it'll point out what kind of things this person is feeling. And body language will tell you so much
Hmm.
about what's going on.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That's interesting you said that, because I had instant replay what the person that did, and I was like, it's like, no, look at the scene that played with your heart. Now, what was it? Now you know this person well, so really, when you seen it, what did you actually see? It's like, oh, it was differently. It wasn't the way I thought I seen that scene. I was reacting off of the mind, but when I looked at it, and I was like, okay, no, that's not really what happened there. That's my fear kicked in and put the subtitle or the caption to it. And it's like, you watch some of those things, you're like, their mouth is moving, but the sound ain't matching up with what they saying at the same time. So that's what it was. So it's like the body language, like, okay, you interpreted them saying this, and the caption is doing totally something different. And that's what it was when I took myself and I did it with the heart. It's like it don't match up with what you just said happened in that scene. It's totally
Hmm.
different. And so that is true when you take that step back and you replay it without all the extra dialogue
And
there.
especially if it is a reoccurring thing, a
Yeah.
situation like you said, um,
Well,
go back and do that with multiple times of it. When maybe the last two times it happened, and do the drop down and look at the body language, do the drop down again. And if it's the same body language, then that's telling you something. Now, if one time they're just saying it, and then the next time they're making motions coming towards you, or something, being very animated with what they're saying when they're upset, um, then you can see that there might be something that maybe you have triggered in it. And that's
right,
where you get to look at that, with a different lens,
That's
right.
exactly
and
what I was going to
reevaluate.
say.
That was it.
Because I learned that in a class.
Hmm.
I just decided to start taking a parenting class just because I wanted to do things differently.
Oh, neat.
And they were talking about, what are you doing that triggers your child, right?
Oh,
Because it's not that it's just your child that's going off and they should be doing everything you're supposed to, XYZ. It's like, what are you doing to trigger your child?
mm,
So if it takes two to tango, then it takes two to have the same type of dynamic especially over and over again. So it's something that's etched in that relationship that can change based on you and your change, right? Which leads to change in them. Now, you're not responsible for the other person, but you are responsible for yourself and what you um, have to deal, what you choose to deal with. But I think Kathy D also brings up a good point. Again, watch our old episodes. Watch our old episodes because they have a lot of gems on it that are going to bring you back to yourself. They're going to bring you back to who you are, where you are in your power, how you can reclaim that and remember who you are. This retrograde is offering those of us who have already, we've already won. The whole point is we already won with the situation or the scenario. Now it's our choice to keep choosing that win. Now is our choice to keep choosing that positive part of the experience that we want to have and keep growing in that. And how we are reacting to the scenario. Because often it's not that someone is doing something to make you upset. Often it's they're doing what they need to do for their survival and they need a certain type of reaction. Now that survival might be coaxing a negative reaction because that's what they're expecting out of the world, right? Just as if you say, oh, somebody's cheating me or they always steal from me, then they tend to show up as that. Or I can't trust these type of people, and you put yourself around untrustworthy people. So find this stuff out about yourself so that you can really cleanse that out of you. And that's the beauty of this reflection period, this retrograde period, because it's getting real heavy. Like things are just feeling super, super off.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're pressing us too as well. Yeah, that's about the second time. About the parenting. Charm says she would love to about awareness of parenting. That's one. I think it was Tiffany Haddish because she said she's thinking about having. She's going to adopt. She did some parenting classes. And stuff. And I was like, that's about the third time I've heard parenting classes. I was like, okay. So I see that that's coming in because you hear a lot of times parents always say, I know my mom said that you didn't come with no manual. So I don't know, you just winged it. You've seen other people do it or whatever. But that's nice to help to kind of get at least that just a little. It's the principles, it's the basics of it that still you got to put your own style to it, your own twist to it, as well.
Mimi got a trigger.
Preaching, trigger happy. Oh yeah.
A lot of us are actually kind of still stuck in Arrested Development and are trigger happy ourselves. Now, us, not necessarily me, but I see a lot of people out there that are just so quick to be offended. They've been waiting all day to be offended. They were just, somebody say something to offend me yet.
Like, get over your damn self.
And you put on that outfit today because you knew that was going to look like my outfit.
Right. Yes. Unbelievable. Let me go right. I forgot about the DM. Let me hit on the DM side.
I forgot about the DM.
Right. Oh. Let's go.
Look at us just getting to chatting.
No. Equal opportunity. So the divine
no boys allowed.
Divine magic. Hey, Sam, you might want to hear what's going on over there. Sam, you might want to hear it. So here we go. We got the divine masculine energy. We house both. We're not just one and not the other. All right. So the divine masculine energies.
Tell me about his fine self.
Where he fine? Ain't he fine? He's super fine. Super fine. Woo, Lord have mercy. Don't get me started. But anyway, all right. So here we go.
I got the vapors.
Always my high school crush. But anyway, all right. So here we go. We got new love here. So a new person has stirred your romantic feelings. So I would not say it's a new person, but I feel that it's a newness and a new creature as far as what you're doing, divine feminines, and you're bringing in your newness. And it's a new person of an image. Like we talked about the identity crisis, that the divine masculine sees himself what he wants to be, and that is stirring up an interest too with the divine masculine energies. He sees the divine feminine energies. The divine feminine energies are working very hard out here, especially with the changes and the reevaluate. Like we said, this is heavy, but we're still working to create this newness. We planted the seeds, we reaping the harvests of things of whatever we're putting out there spiritually for us to be able to get that back as well. We've got a lot of divine guidance happening too. With the divine masculine energies is working with, it says codependency. Now this codependency is coming up again. What are we dependent upon? What are we having it ride in? It's a ride or die. What is the things that we having like in, I'm seeing a motorcycle, and that very thing has been riding along with us all through our life. And I think April had spoke about that too, about these things that keep on pattern themselves. We keep on going and getting them as habitually as something, as a habit. This we got, like it's a shotgun, and it jumps his I'm about to say jumps his ass right there in the passenger seat. And before you know it, we riding along life on the journey together. And you're like, you know what? I really don't have, like the baby was talking about, nephew was saying earlier. He like, car one car. It's like, really, this is a car for one. It ain't no the seat two-seater. And we keep on having this very thing, whatever it is, this addiction for the divine masculine, whatever it is in the world. And we keep on, whether it's the drama for your mama, that's an addiction to, doesn't have to be material, but what shows up in the world all the time. This is something that the divine masculine energies in the world keeps gravitating to, keeps going to. It's almost like a mirroring there too. And it's affecting his romantic life. That to me means it's affecting how he is able to get the divine masculine energies, truly get into the heart space. So that means for us, in our way of out there in the world, and us really truly being able to connect with our heart and really get the answers as to where we are, it's a conflict there. This is also represented by the clarifying card where it says chaos and conflict. So with everything that's going on in divine masculine energies, and we say in the 3D, there's a lot of chaos and conflict. Things are kind of stirring up. I'm seeing like a dust storm. The divine masculine energies wants us out in the world in our leadership. We want something to be our freedom, because it's a zebra underneath there. But at the same time, we're playing ourselves small. We want this freedom, but we're playing ourselves small, and we're looking around us and saying there's no markers in the world that helps us to understand if we're going in the right way. That's where the heart lies. That's where the heart takes the pattern, the GPS. It knows the mapping. It knows where you're destined. It knows where you're supposed to go. Also, we're right now trying to find the whys. What's going on. We're trying to now in our divine masculine energies, especially trying to get this new love in the world with ourselves, this new creature that we're seeing, or this new creature that we're trying to even attract through our divine feminine energies, as well as far as these things in the world, like projects and our bliss and people, that we also finding that the knowledge is helping us to ascend. The more knowledge we get, the more we grow. The more knowledge we get, the more of a platform, or more of something that we can stay on, stand on, and be very permanent on, and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. When you see me, this is my creed. This is my motto. This is what they're saying about it as far as in the divine masculine energies, how we show up in the world is, again, is this newness, this new love for self, this new love for other people. But this codependency is like, again, you're trying to go, but this thing keeps on talking about shotgun, and it rides right along with you. These are some things, addictions are habitually things that we gravitate to. That's our go-to that we've got to learn how to release. We've got to right now here, this came in reverse. This playing things by the book is a one thing that is, I want to say, causing the conflict. I know if we think about it in the past, we're acting like a fool. We're thinking about now in the present, how we've got to be more shielded, more guarded, having more healthy boundaries. Some of our boundaries, I'm seeing the card from the masculine thing, which is said your boundaries is trash. Some of the boundaries that we've had in our divine masculine, when we show up in the world, as far as in our leadership, they are not as strong as they need to be. We need to work on that. We plan things by the book, but there's some weak links that they're saying there that's also coming and showing up. Some of us are using that playing it by the book as like a shield. It's like, I'm doing A, I'm doing B, I'm doing C, I'm doing D, but you know, in this, I think this retrograde is some Aquariusness that's going in there. And I know at that time, sometimes we can do that, but then sometimes it's a way that we might have to kind of break out of the shell, because if we keep on doing the same things the way we doing, that's called the road to madness or the insanity. And so we have to understand, how is this linking up? We can move linear, you know, that can help as well too, but then also watch the processes as far as how we're laying our foundation, as far as us doing things by the book. Is it very basic? Should we be thinking about tweaking this part, maybe take step 2 out and maybe add this in instead for step 2? Maybe step 3 should really be step 2, and step 2 should really be step 3. Maybe we should kind of be rethinking and telling me about the process that we're using. And the divine masculine energies, they're saying about how we show up in the world. We have to understand that love, this is actually Cupid. Now, most of the time when we see Cupid, this is not how Cupid looks. Okay, so this is Cupid. Cupid looks totally different. And this thing about this love thing that the divine masculine energy saying, I want this new love, I'm attracting this new love, rather how they're showing themselves in the world, how other people are showing up in the world, has to understand that it's going to look very different. That's going back to what we all talked about, Kathy D and April, than where we came from. This is totally different about this thing called love. I think April and I, we talked about that earlier too, and I hope when she comes back she can kind of talk about that. I don't know if she touched upon that this while we're here, how love now and where we're going, and that's why it's so important. Shameless plug about the doubling down for love, because this love aspect that we're about to go into with this new age is going to be totally different than the love that we're used to. It does not follow 3D, and I think I said that, or maybe I said that on my podcast, that we cannot take 3D definitions of how we are. And I said it on this one too, on Divine Unisoul's channel. You can't take the definition of how you do things X, Y, and Z and by the book, by 3D definition, and apply that to twin flame or divine love, whichever way it's going to go. That can, those two can apply. That's the same thing like I said about the parenting class. You got some things, but then when you get in there, you're going to be saying, well, that was nice. Chapter 2 don't look like it's apply to them, because this child is seriously trigger happy. I've done everything. I watched that, like they say, Supermom. I've done everything, put Timmy in the corner. I've tried to explain to Timmy about what's going on, that you know you did bad. Do you understand why you're in the corner? And Timmy repeats back, yes, I know why I'm in the corner. And then you put Timmy right back into the corner. And then he tried to run away. You put Timmy back in the corner. And then he runs away. You have to put back and say, do you understand why you're in the corner? Yeah, I understand why I'm in the corner. And you walk away, and then Timmy running. So you like say, okay, chapter 22 ain't working for me. I gotta take that out of the manual. So you'll find yourself, even when we're talking about love, some of the things that you can apply by 3D, what you have learned, maybe it's mom's way of telling you their old remedies about love, and dad and whomever like that. You're going to find yourself that you're going to have to find what works for you. What's your definition of what works for you for your relationship with whomever that you are with or end up with. And so that's what they're trying to say again. This love things, these things, maybe the job, what you love, might be totally different. Then say, well, I love this, but now I see this new thing that I'm coming in and becoming this new creature. Look like I'm phasing out of this, and look like I'm jumping into something else. You got two things. You got the rabbit, which represents beginnings. We said about that. Who card said about beginnings? I seen that. Oh yeah, this one about beginnings. And you got this buzzard or vulture looking creature here, which is about taking all the dead things and getting rid of that so you can give way for something new. Because again, even in the death of things, what we said about there's a lesson that can be learned. It's a lesson and blessing from that, and understand why is this lesson coming too as well. And so that is what the divine masculine energy's got to understand. Things are going to show up differently than what you have prepared yourself, or what your definition of what love is going to show up totally different. And you've got to like it's here, dearie darling, and you've got to start getting used to how it shows up in the world, because you're here as divine to create this newness as well. I need it within. What is this? What happened? Oh, I said it on the recent class. Yes, I did say it on the recent one. I did try to do my own twist on twin flames and soulmates on my podcast. So please go over there to Divinely Speaking Unplugged. I did do my thing about that. Charmer said one part of mission for me and mine is about the new paradigm of parenting with all of this. I have been put on hold over and over by source, in essence, waiting for us to be. Where's her? Where's it? That's Benita. Needed within. You're the third person there last week who's expressed that. Thank you for speaking. Gives me the notification I've been waiting on to come in to get started on a few things. Yeah, you gotta get on that family mission thing back, Benita, because it looked like it's kind of needed.
Oh man. Your metaphors. I was like, if she says one more freaking metaphor about the fact that I have to, she talk about breaking eggs. Okay, so I recently stopped being like hardcore vegan, and I decided I was going to incorporate local farm raised eggs, right?
Okay.
And I've not given them to my son, so he's never really seen or dealt with an egg before. So apparently, he went through the fridge and just threw every single egg we have on the floor. And you were talking about breaking through and starting anew and all this. I'm like, here we go.
And he did something about it. No,
all in my kitchen, on my floor. So I'm like, what is with kids right now? Just going a little bit wild. Having all these ascension symptoms of me getting exhausted. Who's on there? I feel like it's divine, but it's also very interesting to learn to navigate it, because I'm not upset by it at all. I'm not, I'm actually just like, how could I have prevented this? What is the lesson for this right now? It's like, okay, I figured it out. I'm going to ask for support. It'll be all right. Because he's too wild now.
And on a side note, if he ever does that again, you take salt and you shake it on the egg, and it congeals the egg, and then you can actually just sweep it up.
Okay.
Oh, wow. This chick.
The more you know.
Trust me.
Well, he was sitting there scrambling. He was mixing them up. He was like, oh, what's this? This is an interesting texture. And he like rubbing all that. But it's on a Lahala mat. So it's a mat that's like this. So even if I could sweep it, it still half seep through the mat. So I got to deep cleaning to do this weekend. Thanks, kiddo.
But you can still put salt on it, and it absorbs. What it does is it absorbs that liquid and congeals it, so it's not the slimy, snotty mess. So when you go to deep clean it, it still comes up easier in clumps.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm with you.
I'll give it a shot. Yeah. Hopefully, I don't ever have to, but I'll remember if I did.
Yes. Well, I mean, I learned that with Jackie, who thought she could juggle when she was little. Yeah, with raw eggs. It didn't work real well. No. And because we kept trying then, look, oh, that didn't work. Let me try another. No, that didn't work. Yeah. So that's what happens when mommy goes to the bathroom. And then just cooking. I've had them like roll off the counter and, things like that. So there have been other times that I've had to clean up after myself. So.
Okay.
I like what Mimi just put up right there. She said, okay, Charm. That's just the very last comment.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Charm, yes, we're in preparation to finally step out on knowing the next level of faith and move within the next 2 months before my son goes back to school. You'll be taken care of, and me too. Be taken care of, and me too. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm feeling the conclusion of this little chaotic period ending relatively quickly. But we got to do the work, right? Because this is the time. That's what it was. The spiritual warfare, because they were talking about it through the chat earlier on. And yes, we are in the middle of spiritual warfare. They're trying to claim us and distract our minds. And every person that could get on your last nerve or whatever is actually being put up in the forefront unless you've set up your space where you are secure in it. And for those of us who are shifting into secure and safer spaces, we're choosing ourselves, which is the overall ultimate prize. Right, is to be at one and calm and at peace with the self, I think. You know, everybody's got different levels of what they're trying to do. And what's beautiful is if you're here with us and you made it, you know, through this part of it, you know that you've already won, you've done the work. And if you want to redo some of the work, watch our old shows. Like I mentioned, there's a whole playlist on Divine Sunshine's channel. And we're slowly integrating what we can on this channel because it takes a lot of work to change it from one to the other day. Do not make it easy. But we put forth a lot of strength, a lot of power, a lot of meditations, a lot of techniques, and just going through them in that mental state is going to prepare you. And it's going to help fill up those spaces of in between, because that deep cleaning, there's a lot of self-doubt coming up. There's a lot, and it's really insipid. It's really confusing because it's trying. Man, the war is the light forces against the dark forces. There's these little huge entities that eat your negative energy, and so they foster in that, and so they try to culminate. And as much as there are forces working together for your good, there's also other forces working together to kind of, this is the last fight of the dark, right? This is that next golden age. And so as we're stepping into that concretely, we are willingly have to give up these addictions, because they are addictions to the pain body. And the parts of the pain body that aren't just necessary. Like, okay, I got a paper cut. Let's heal that. Let's clean it. Let's be more careful with this material that we're working with. There's the other part that is, okay, I'm addicted to feeling negative about myself. So I'll keep proving to myself that I'm XYZ, unattractive or unlovable, blah, 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 blah. I'm just repeating that. But this is this period when I say that sometimes it's better to think nothing than it is to try to rationalize it using the parts of your brain that are already in pain or used to the neural pathway, whereas if you're going towards that negative spiral. So if you do find yourself, fall into the breath, if you're in a physical pain, fall into that actual pain and breathe through it. And it starts to alchemize and change emotional patterns. Because I've had someone else confirm to me that the pain is actually re-alchemizing within, and it's becoming less painful and less frequent. But they can see where the patterning is happening. We can all choose to see the patterning. And for those of you who are here, you most likely are, but gently encouraging those around us to do that for themselves. And gently encouraging them to see their patterning. Or harshly, whatever works for them. Right? But sometimes people can only hear certain ways. Right? So you want to make it so that people can understand you, so that we can all rise up faster, right? Because it's a numbers game. The more people that do it, the faster it happens. The more we stand together for something, the more it's uplifted. And so, like and subscribe.
Well, you know, and two, like you're talking about sitting in the pain. One thing that what the retrograde brings with us right now too is we need to really pay attention to our dreams. So if you've never done it before, now is the time to write down your dreams. And even if they're crazy and they don't make a lot of sense, just write them down. Write down what you remember, and then go back and look at it later. See if it triggers anything. Look it up. You can go online, Google, a dream dictionary. Look at those things. See if that triggers anything. But I woke myself up probably, it was a couple nights ago, and I don't remember the dream itself, but I remember waking myself up saying over and over again, I'm protected by love. I'm protected by love. I'm protected by love, strength, and faith. I'm protected by love, strength, and faith. And then I would go back to, I'm protected by love. I'm protected by love. And so these kind of things are coming out. We're facing these fears, and we're reminding ourselves that, what we're, protected by.
Good out there. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I thought it was.
I think that's funny.
We
kind of have to tell ourselves that too before we walk out the door. We kind of have to
be good out there.
Yeah, we got to remind our 3D, our 5D selves need to remind our 3D selves. No, you be good out there.
Right.
Now I just have to also define what's good, right?
Right.
What's good for me?
I don't know how many times he's like decided to take plants apart, and he loves it. He loves nature.
Well, Mimi, I see yours down here. It says you were told to write down your dreams since 2017. You did a couple times. They were crazy and you gave up. You know what? If you don't want to write them down, record them. You know, you can download the app of voice recording on your phone and just record them and say, you know, I remember Benita and I send them back and forth to each other. I had a crazy dream last night. This is what happened. And by no means is it spelled right. Is there punctuation? And don't even ask for capitalization. It's really just a train of thought, but so that we share it with somebody else while it's still fresh.
I know.
So there are other ways to record. I know a lot of people have trouble writing them down because it seems like when we take that pen to paper, we want to remember all the details, and we're not just doing that train of thought writing. And that's what. So record it until you get, and that, you know what, record it and then write it down. Re-listen to the recording and write it down.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a better way than just talk texting. I wouldn't recommend that with everything being in retrograde. I literally.
Oh, you don't talk text. Absolutely not. I mean, literally, you can go on there and have that little record button. And
when I get
at this point in retrograde, I'd actually, you know, recommend if you could even find one, a cassette tape and player, you know, like you'd use for, or the little ones like you used to use for vacation where you talk into, you know, but anything like that, any kind of voice memo that you can just talk into and then listen back and you write it down. And I think then at that point, you're going to start seeing some similarities or some key things in there, things that'll stand out. Like I had a very odd dream about Archangel Raphael. Didn't realize it was him until I put into the dream dictionary or in an angel search or something, what angel comes to people in their dreams and how do you know? And it was, you know, you'll see green, you'll see flowers, you'll see this, and all of those things were around this man. And it was Archangel Raphael. So,
and what is Raphael about again?
He's healing. He's healing. He is the archangel of matchmakers. He is. He also. Yeah, he's the best. He also talks to you through license plates, and so Raphael and I have had a connection for a long time, and I didn't realize it because I get a lot of signs from license plates.
Right. Yeah, but Raphael was the one that's always doing with the signs and stuff.
And am I still audible? Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about the cards, and it was a lot of green, and he kept talking heart, and I was like, I feel like there's more to this. And Raphael in the green makes sense for a person who's helping with union right now.
And he's notorious and known in so many different writings, not just in, you know, Christian writings, but in all different genres and even fiction kind of writings, you know, that maybe are not used as a religious tool. That he's the one that comes to people in their dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He kind of likes to be seen. He's the archangel that likes to be seen. He likes to be visual. Yeah, he's very much a visual learner and auditory. He likes to see and he likes to be heard.
Yeah, that's why I said them chimes is him half the time when I'm doing my reading. That's Ralphie. Yeah, that is Ralphie. They say it's other people there trying it too, but it's combination. But yeah, most definitely on that one. All of them together. Was there anything? Hey, Tammy.
My boy made a whole cake.
And actually, Tammy has really started working with Raphael with her back. Her husband owns a business, and she helps him produce these parts for these machines. And standing has become very difficult for her, and he's helped her to be able to stand 4 and 5 hours. And she just literally now has gotten, I think you've gotten to the point where she just has a conversation with him. You know, it's not like one of those Archangel Raphael, please come in. And, you know, it's one of those like, hey, Right.
I mean,
And a lot of
it's all
people
right.
don't realize that with the angels, but she's just like, hey, I need you. I need
Right.
your help. You know, they're sitting there.
Now, I also want to put this out there. We can call on them for all the help in the world, but we actually also need to be taking those steps towards self-care and changing what the actual issue is. Because
Right.
something has had to have changed in the body for um, for the pain to arise and continue. So part of that has to do with the forgiveness and the actually feeling into the body and what is this pain telling me besides I don't need to be standing up. Right. So I don't mean to just be laughing about pain because I have chronic back pain and stuff myself. And
Mhm.
I've gone through the same thing that I'm talking about. But it's also just saying, hey Laurie, she made it. Okay. It's
I bet you
also
that notification just kicked in over there on the other channel. Nothing gone.
no. She messaged me. I had to tell her how to find it.
Right. Yeah.
So so but pain, we're talking about pain and how to work with and integrate the pain as a message system, as well as calling on the angels for their assistance.
Right.
But also going through the process of what the body is saying needs to be healed or recognized or acknowledged. And for me, part of that is getting my food habits back in order. Hence my son throwing out all those fresh, like they were 1 day old people. I was like, okay, well, if that's not a sign, I don't know what else is. And then he had spilled chocolate everywhere earlier too, right? Chocolate cocoa powder.
Yeah, that's luxury.
It's still on my shirt.
Um,
So it's
yeah,
food of the
Mimi asks,
gods.
yes, Mimi asks a question, what archangel can I call on to help me with organization and decluttering? And that would be Metatron. Because he works with timing, he works with space. Um,
Geometric, yeah.
yeah, so it would be Metatron.
Yeah, that would make sense.
You would call on him for that. Archangel Michael is protection.
Yeah.
Uh, Gabriel and Raphael,
She's
they
communication.
float. Communication is Gabriel. Raphael
Mhm.
also works with the arts as in some forms, and so does Gabriel in other forms. So
Yeah.
um, Gabriel also works with musicians. So,
It's-
but Metatron Uriel, if you're a twin flame, that we're kind of his pet project.
And
He
Shamiel
is.
and Charity.
Mm-hmm.
Shamiel and Charity are twin. Then
Yep.
they house over and they watch over twin flames as well.
Yeah.
But
Uriel is over like
Archangel Michael, the big
divine love. That's
that's the one. And he's like, okay. And the rest of them that way. But yeah.
yeah.
What's
So
happening?
the
April
those
like,
are.
not the process.
I mean, you're, and if you're,
there's just a lot of
Mimi, if
angels.
you're,
There's a lot of cleaning.
and and Mimi, if you're ever not sure, just call in the Fab Five: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael,
You're real.
Metatron, and Uriel, and you're covered somewhere in there. That's my Fab Five. When things are going crazy, or I'm at wit's end, or afraid, I call in my five. And
Ariel would be called in if you're afraid of something for courage. You call it Ariel.
hmm and but I just at that point when I can't think who do I need to call in, I just kind of I hit
They
those
get it.
five
They like that too. You say my Fab Five, hit it. They know who they talking about. You know,
hmm
they do. You know, we get hung up about the names and stuff, and they say that, and then instead we want to be very respectful for 'em. But again, you know, it comes down to if you don't know, say, of course, I want to be respectful. I don't know what your name is, but can you please call on this one that can help me with this clutter around this house? And then, there's like, okay, that's all I ask. So I'm being respectful, but just opening. I'm giving you permission. That's the main thing, is to give them permission so they can be able to do the work, because they're very respectful. and they will not move unless you ask permission for them to do that. But you take from that point on, and then they also will reveal their names to you. You know, you got your own personal ones too that are assigned to you as well. And so, you know, you can ask that you please reveal and tell me what's your name, as to who is it that's working with me. And they will over, you know, they'll reveal that too as well. But like I said, the Fab Five is always good for you to start. You know, they it seem like they would laugh like we tickle pink by that. That's cute. So, you know, that's one way you could be able to do that too as well. He real
Yeah,
quiet.
and
He real quiet. I don't know about this here. You better check on uh he real
but
quiet,
yeah,
really quietness. Yeah.
the Fab Five has they are also the ones that are known to appear um, in some form of physical way. In a situation where I was um, beside myself and asking for um, protection for my girls, for myself, um, you know, calling on everyone and everything I could think of. Um, the person said to me, "Do you think those big guys standing outside your doors are going to stop me?" Um, I didn't see anybody. I felt their presence. My girls didn't see anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But to the person that was trying to harm us, saw them. They
Mm,
made their presence known. They
mm,
made their size known.
okay.
And the the description that he gave of the big guys standing outside our doors, um, I could pinpoint it. It was Michael. It was Gabriel. It was Raphael. It was Metatron. It was Uriel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's who it was, and there was no doubt about it. They will, you know, when you call on them, especially when you don't feel them. Sometimes they come in so quickly. It's just like a whoosh of air.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you feel a spiritual presence a lot of times. When there is an emergency and they are needed quickly in that situation, they come very quickly. But also, we have to remember when we call on them, and if there's something, say you call on Michael, and there's something that is not his area of specialty, you know, he then goes and gets the other angels. So it might not be instantaneous, it might be a day or so before something happens. They haven't forgotten. It sometimes it just takes them a little time to get there together and to have their energies together.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be mindful of that because we're, you know, Divine Sunshine could be talking to Ralphie and I might be needing Ralphie and Tammy's needing Ralphie, and you know, yes, they can be everywhere at once, but there are times that, you know, he could be like, that's not really me, let me get Michael, and that's more his thing, you know, and their energies move that way. So never give up on them. I've heard people say, well, I've asked my angels and they never come. No, they always come. It just might not be the way you expected it or wanted it.
Right. And I'm hearing them saying also we have to get permission because sometimes, you know, you still got
Hmm.
to go to source to get permission to intercede. It's like source might say they
Right.
gotta learn. They gotta learn.
They got to learn on their own.
I heard him say sometimes we can intercede, like I brighter. Sometimes we can intercede, and some things we got to go get permission. You know, we got to understand
Hmm.
we do answer to somebody else too. We got a boss. I'll be able to say it. We got a
Hmm.
district manager, a boss, and we have to answer to. So that goes into play too. And then sometimes it's just like, no, we got to go sit it out and really see. You know, it's a lot of things that go into play when spirit is moving things. You know, a lot of times they got to kind of see, okay, if I do this, what's going to happen to them down the line? What's going to do this? And sometimes they'll say, okay, they can learn from that. Let them have it. Oh, okay. Let them have it because then something else will come down the line that's going to help them to grow into that. So it's a lot of, they're telling me I'm seeing them like a blueprint, like I'm seeing them kind of around a blueprint and they're looking at it. And it's like, you know, we have to really go, we got to answer other people. We don't want to do anything to mess us up with your growth. It is a lot of things that go into it. That it's not just that we just deserted you, like Kathy D said, but is, you know, you got to understand something. There's some things that we know is for the betterment of your highest good. We Johnny quick on the spot. but some things it has to be kind of like weeded out as well.
And if they can't help you, if they can't intercede for you, they are there with you.
Oh yeah, no,
They're always there with you, even
right.
if they can't do anything, and they can't do anything mean for you. You can't be like, just make sure their car doesn't start. They can't. They don't understand that.
Like,
But yeah, they are always there with
oh,
you.
I
And
can't
if
do
you
it.
go into a meditation or even just close your eyes and go into your breathing, you
Right,
can feel their wings wrap around you. If they can't do anything for you, they're definitely always there to comfort you,
right,
and your own guardian angel.
right.
And that's, I
No,
laughed at Mimi. They're sitting at the bar every night. That's where they probably hang out, Mimi, with my guardian angel, who is probably sitting there, probably, pouring and doing the shots. Um,
That's so funny. I
because,
didn't even look over there at the side of the thing, and I seen Archangel Michael do it like this. When I say, "Get him, Mikey,"
mhm,
he like, with his handsome self, like, no, no,
yeah,
he has lost her
my guardian angel, his wings are dirty. Some of the feathers have been burnt off, fallen off, or otherwise
halo
pulled
cut
off.
to the side.
Yeah, definitely has earned his. Actually, I should say her
Man,
wings. My
It's
guardian
got a
angel
gangster
is
leg,
Ariel.
right? It's got
Yeah,
a mean gangster leg. Like, what
yeah,
happened? Man, Ralphie, what happened to your halo? You don't want to know.
yeah. Ariel comes limping in. Halo kind of all tattered, bent. Wings
Right.
disheveled.
Yeah.
Smock. When we think of them all in white, Smock is all covered in different colors.
Right.
It's
Yeah. 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 You don't want to know. She had it again. Yes, she had it again. This one's hard headed.
mhm.
Yeah. So,
And I have a feeling that between my guardian angel and my DM's guardian angel, we probably need to sign up for just, I guess it would be triple A, and not for automobiles. It would be Alcoholics Anonymous for angels, because though between the two of us, we probably send those two angels absolutely crazy.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. And even what they say, we're always assigned in life, you got a guardian angel and you got an ancestor guide.
hmm
Yeah.
and then we have our spirit team as
They
well.
got spiritual.
Other entities.
Yeah, because I know mine have told me, say, both of y'all is hard headed as hell. That's what they
hmm
You're stubborn and you both don't listen. How about that?
hmm
I said, okay, thank you.
Yep.
You both don't listen. You both don't listen. You're hard headed. You're a little bit more better than him, but you're hard headed still.
Our guardian angels must all be in the same support group, because
They're cracking up laughing at us like y'all not that
good
bad.
night,
Y'all
sweet
bad.
Bonita.
What's
yeah,
that?
because
Bonita
Huh?
said she was calling it a night.
Okay, good night,
oh yeah,
Anita. They
night,
all
babe.
retired. We're ready to retire. They're like, we ain't that bad. Must remember we've been around here for quite some time. We've ran the gamut. We've seen them all. We've seen them, and we know that goes with the job. They said with the territory. So
Well, that's what makes
Well,
them
and
because they've seen it before. That's what makes them so good at.
right, that's what they just told me. It's like we've seen it before. You ain't pulling nothing that we ain't seen before. Honestly. Say you're amateurs. Okay, well, thank you.
and you have to remember too, your guardian angel is assigned to your soul, not to your meat suit. So
Yeah,
if you've been around, maybe 8 go arounds per
yeah,
se,
that's what they said.
they've been with you for all 8. So yeah, sometimes, you get smacked on the head with a wing like, didn't you learn this the last 4 times? Have we not been here before?
Right. Yeah, and they will say that. I know I had past life regressions, and some of the guys that came in is like, and they told one of the young ladies, like, I thought you got this by now. And it's
hmm
like, and then they chastised her, and then they pulled it back, and it's like, okay, this is your answer. This is why things are going on. But they talked to her very strongly. It's like we've been over this before. You should know this by now. Why you don't know this by now? So
Lori, they are not sick of you.
they're not sick
Um,
at all.
ultimately they are the true epitome of unconditional love.
Yeah, no,
I think the
They
biggest thing here is when you actually listen to yourself instead of going with whatever it is you think you should be doing, or there's a lot of like obligatory things that we do for niceness or for image or for whatever reason, and that usually throws us right off the game. But typically we are in love with ourselves. We're typically
where
doing the actions to
that
keep
came
us
from?
going forward.
Okay, I don't know where that came from. That was interesting. It popped up.
But I guess since that popped up, we are stepping into the knowing, right? That's what
hmm
fully divining and being in love is stepping into knowing who we are and what we aren't, but then also knowing our weaknesses and saying, I'm open to it. I'm open to becoming the next level. you
Right.
know there is a sense of retiring, but I mentioned back I think a month or two ago, the new where we're leveling into new spirit guides, right? Which means we're releasing some because they are going to go help. I think angels and archangels have the ability to be in multiple places at once, so they don't
they do.
necessarily have to retire in that essence. But I think we need to retire aspects of ourselves, and that's what this whole rebirthing retrograde period is about. Um, and allowing the new spirit guides to actually guide us. As much as we want to say, "Oh, what's my sign?" and then have you seen The Man with Two Brains? That's one of my favorite movies with Steve Martin. And the wife dies, and he says, "If you don't want me to get with this woman, send me a sign." And then this picture is on the wall and it's spinning. It's like, no, no, no. And he's like,
Okay.
oh, okay, well, I'll just wait for that sign then. And ooh, I'm gonna get that picture fixed. And it's a you turned it off? Okay, good job. So we're going to step into these new spirit guides. We're going to need to allow ourselves to get the signs, but we actually have to slow down and listen. We have to
hmm
actually take ourselves and learn the lesson and not say, okay, well, it's a different situation, or no, no, no. I think all of us are at the point where we are pretty much understanding our lessons. Now it's moving into standing strong in our power and our understanding of ourselves.
Right. That's true. And then
Lori,
I want me to bring this message to you too. And don't forget that there's such thing as earth angels. So people can act in the role of angels too to help out with the role. They told me, they say, tell them. I said, okay. So remember that too as well. We help out in different ways. We are angels to each other in certain circumstances and moments that we are needed. So that's it also. Just remember that. Okay, what is it?
and
What's the next thing come?
well, Lori, I just think this is funny, and this is really the way we need to kind of laugh at ourselves and be lighthearted with ourselves through this retrograde. What she says there is, I'm in my world. My spirit guides are like judges. The judging panel from RuPaul's Drag Race. Uh, you
I got
know that,
I
and
have that
that's
too.
that's that's fantastic. I mean, you have to be lighthearted about it, and you have to, and that's part of it with the unconditional love. Just having fun with them, because that's really what they want. Because the more fun we have, the more lighthearted we are, the higher our vibes are, the
Right.
easier it is for them to come to us. And it's kind of like April said, send me a sign, and the picture's spinning. Well, I'll wait for that sign. When we're in that higher vibe, it's so much easier for them to communicate those signs. And using our intuition, we have to trust that our intuition. And it was interesting. Benita and I were talking about it the other night at dinner. The little things that we have ingrained in us that we don't realize that we do. What do we always say? We talk about these things. We talked about it earlier with forgiveness. Release it to the universe. Tell the universe what you want. We're always like, ask the angels for help. Let them know where they're needed. But think about it. When you were younger, I remember my mother saying things to me. Well, don't say anything before it happens. You don't want it to be, you don't want it to get out there. You don't want to be jinxed. You don't want to.
Hmm.
So we're taught to keep it in. And how many times, or with birthday candles, blow out your candles, make a wish. Don't tell anybody, they won't come true. But we're told to tell the universe what we want. So these
I'm
are
gonna
some of those paradigms that we're working out of. And
I'm
as a
gonna put
twin,
this out
that's
there though. It depends on how strong you are in your understanding and knowing of your own power and who's around you. Because you can, by hearing the wrong type of information or by the wrong person associating with you, you know, slow the process down. And that's a real life fact. If you say I want to be an actress, mom, and your mom says no, you can never be an actress, that's a huge that's a huge hurdle to overcome. One, because you have to go through the whole process of forgiveness of your mother for saying that. And that could take years in therapy or whatever it is. But then two, to strengthen the power of yourself, you know? Yes, you ask the universe, but you better be praying by yourself or with your friend who really has your back, not the one who's just sitting there and talking smack about you to so and so behind your back. You know, and that
Mhm.
whole discernment process, all these things we're talking about, guys, I'm talking with a strong force here, is if you are missing anything, go through this playlist of our episodes, watch the ones that are calling out to you. We, in the first year, I dedicated every single week to doing a loving, hardcore, well-powered energy healing and meditation. Kathy, we put in a lot of work in terms of giving you some really good journaling tactics and ideas. All of there's multiple ways to get to the number 9, but you have to decide how you're going to get there. I wish you'd done a dance segment. That would be cool. You did some fun stuff with the sunshine circle.
Yeah,
Aren't you starting
well, that's
another
good. That's good.
sunshine
That's
circle?
good. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you have your rays.
Huh?
I said you have your sunshine rays, your rays of
Well,
sunshine.
raise
Yeah.
the sunshine and the Patreon. Yeah, we ain't even got to that yet. We ain't even got because I'm waiting for summer and this school to be over with. Then I can really cut loose on that as well. But yeah, because it's kind of turning into that. It's just that I like this is sunshine circle all over again. But yeah, but 'cause it's just needed. It is. We need that support, and we just need from people that really kind of know that help us to speak the lingo, and we can be able to lean on each other and support. Um, yeah, that would be nice. I keep on challenging myself to do that, and I have yet to have done that to bring the dance over there for Divine.
Well,
You
see now,
can do that.
I encourage my girls to birthday candles, things like that. You know, we share and we celebrate what their wish is. So I think a lot of it is, yeah, you're not just going to go around, but when you know you're in a safe environment, and that's something we definitely need to do with the next generation is give them that safe environment, and a lot of times keep um, maybe our opinions that are built on old paradigms kind of to ourselves, you know,
Mhm.
and that's where we're having to encourage, you know, and then we have to encourage ourselves too, because I've caught myself in situations maybe oh, you know, they'll say, you know, oh, well, when the DM comes back, well, you know, if he comes back, I don't know, you know, I know in my heart, I know what I know, what I know, but I play it small because I hear my mom in my head, well, you know, don't say that, you know, before it happens, don't count your chickens before they hatch. um but that's one chicken I can count on, and I need to start standing up and telling the universe, you know, yes, yep, he's coming back. I know it. I stand confident in it, and I know it, and he's coming back. And I need to quit playing small with that, and I need to quit skirting around it. Well, if, you know, I don't know. No, I do know. I know what I know, and I stand behind it.
Yeah.
And I put it out to the universe, and that's where we've got to get to with this retrograde and this introspection, see where we're playing it small.
Yeah, I feel you on that, and I can see both ways what April's saying and you are saying too. Especially when you have that strong parent that kind of has some of those old
Oh
things
yeah.
like superstitions, how they were, them old colloquialisms that they use, and it's catchy. It's like a song that's got a catchy beat. It's got a catchy beat, and you hear it playing over and over again because it's catchy. And before you know it, it's like a ticker taper that's running underneath, and it's running on automatic, and it's popping up like a file on the computer without you even knowing. And so some of those things and those ways kind of bleed into other things until you find yourself silencing or, like you said, scared to make the next step. I agree
And
also with
and
April saying,
and that's where the spiritual warfare comes in. I really do believe our society has been put under this whole guise where a few select few are selectively collecting that power. Watch me run out of power. My battery says it's low.
oh, okay,
They're collectively running this game to brainwash us, to keep us under this type of control, whereas we're now in the process of taking our power back. That's been the whole process of the rise of the divine feminine energy, is acquiring the power and holding it. Because before, the feminine was overgiving. The feminine energy was self-sacrificing and had a martyrdom type of situation. And in fact, they want to let you believe that, you know, Jesus, he did die for our sins, he did these things, but they want to put that process out and say, okay, well, if you, that's the way of true life. That's the way of ultimate being of Christ, of God, right? And it's like, no, that was just one aspect, because he wanted to say, look, I live forever. Look, I come back. You know what I mean? And so with having the womb, with having the creation coming through us, we will always come back. We are the breeders of the next generation. Now, your parents may have said these things out of survival because that's how they
right,
survived.
true,
And they wanted
Right.
you to survive, but they didn't understand about thriving. And
right,
here we are switching the paradigm from survival to thriving, but it takes a lot of, again, forgiveness, again, moving back through and self-strengthening. And that's where we come back to those old episodes of self-love, of forgiveness, of discernment. You know, we did a lot of really deep work on those childhood woundings because those are the core ones. Those
right,
are the ones that repeat themselves even within our own self, because we were taught how to think and feel and be from these people that were around us around a majority of the time.
yeah, and I totally agree with that. And so, like I said, and I
Hmm.
also want to piggyback to the understanding about who you talk to, and give out that information about your dreams and things like that, because easily, it's always the thing, the bad things you remember, the good things you kind of like is put away, and for every bad thing something happens, you got to say like 5 times to erase whatever, I don't know what it is to think of, to what they said bad out of your memory. So in order for you to unprogram that, it's a lot of work. And so I do understand what April's saying. That again, you got to watch it, who you're talking to, even to parents or whomever it is that you're like, I don't know if I can share that with you, because you're going to give me 20 million ways to the number 9 and why that ain't going to work. And so, or anybody else. So I don't think I need to share that. So, you have to be selected too. So I can understand what it's saying. And that's where, again, discernment comes into play as well. So I really truly understand both sides of the coin
Hmm. Oh
about
yeah.
that
Well,
aspect.
yeah. Tammy and I have a sister like that. We just know that we don't talk about angels, spiritual things like that with her. She just, she's not having it. She's not hearing it.
Right,
Um, but so we just know, and that's family. Do anything in the world for her, love her dearly, but just
right,
doesn't understand it. And so you know we have each other. And so if anybody's reading the comments that don't already know, Tammy is my sister, Tamara, and that's why there's all that razzing on there where she said that she can't be trusted, and I said, or keep a secret. That's a running joke with the family. Don't tell her anything. um she can't keep a secret and she can't be trusted, which she is my confidant in the family. So yeah, she can. And then she just put down there, she rolls her eyes at me a lot too. Yes, she does. She rolls her eyes a lot at us.
she rolls her eyes at you.
Well, we have another family member that does that too, but he's
So,
coming
right,
around.
yeah. So um I'm looking at it. It's so uncomfortable to know and feel like you're supposed to have some limelight, but don't want the attention. Okay, about that. Well, that's something. Oh, she's kind of thing. Oh, okay, April went out. That's something. Oh, that's
Hmm.
what she said. I think was going dead. That's something that, again, that's a kind of a fear of success. And to me, I'm hearing at the root of that. That's going on. Oh, she's back. Okay, and so that's something that, let me move up. Oh, no, not you. Sorry. You jumping around. She was there, now she's gone.
Me?
Oh,
I'm gone?
what? Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear, but I can't see you.
Okay,
You
here I
in
go.
that other spot. There she going to 50 again. Come on back. Come on back. I can hear you.
I can feel all the congestion coming out. I can feel all the concepts, the things that have been holding us back, the things that people are afraid to say. It's now time to say that stuff, at least to yourself. There's a level that people are in a state of denial of their own power. And so they keep oscillating back and forth, right? And this is why I keep emphasizing going back to those videos, because we worked through a majority of this material. But because you've built those neural networks, you built those pathways over and over again towards the negative belief or the negative concept, it takes more than one meditation to breathe that stuff out. Yeah, you feel great, but you got to keep training. We're in the trenches, people. That's why it's spiritual warfare,
Right.
as opposed to just like well, actually, a dance recital would be really great. If it was a dance off, let's not go from a warfare. Let's go to a dance battle, okay? Because I like dance, and you know you do too. It makes us all feel good. Well, you got to learn the choreography. And once you got the choreography, because I use the exercise metaphor again, you know it automatically.
Right.
And then you want to make it all suddenly awesome, add a new move, a new twist, a new turn. And that's what the universe keeps throwing at us, are these new twists and turns to old patterns or old pathways, to see if we can dance differently with them, to see if we're going to now switch into our power mode, our goddess self, our higher DF resonance or DM resonance. Right? And that means a balance of ourself. That means a balance of the other. That means staying strong and disciplined in our actions.
Yeah, I'm totally agreeing with that. You know, and I think for me sometimes that's some kind of my frustration is me, because I can feel the kind of like and it's like we've covered this, people all over. That's even with myself. We covered this and we've seen that the stuff is out there, but we think that it's a one-time shot, and it's not. It's something that, again, we got to make a conscious effort to. We got to keep on revisiting. We got to keep on looking back. The stuff is there, especially on the playground of content. We have covered just about we try to come up with every subject, like, okay, now flip it again. Now what can we do? And we're like, we really kind of covered the basics, you know, but it's always something new. It's always another twist to things, but the principle is the same. Just like I said before, the principle is the same across the board. And so, again, as we wrap it up, because I didn't know it was still going on 2 hours. Well, Lord, have mercy. And so we really have been talking with that.
You know, I was hoping we would go Freaky Friday on this, but we didn't.
No, we did not go Freaky Friday. Honestly, pardon my French, but okay, but she's right. That's true. Literally, the root of everything problematic. It is that. It is that. Self-sabotage is protection too. It's ego. It is. Right? You're saying you can't do it. You're not going out there. You're talking yourself out of these things about that. Just go ahead and just do it. The art of wanting to be a perfectionist about doing stuff. Heck, I'm doing up here flubbing. I don't know everything, but I was like, heck, I got to just go ahead and do it. That's the Aries in me. I don't give a freak by how it's presented to anybody. You know, it's like, I'm just going to get it out there because Spirit told me to do that. I think that's, again, something that stops us. And like, people like, again, we got to define what is success. So that's even with me. It's like, okay, it doesn't matter about how many, it does matter, but it doesn't. My thing is like, did I get the message out there? Yeah, that's success. Did I go out and set off a thing that I wanted to do. I've been wanting to do podcasts for the longest. And I was like, no, I'm too scared. I can't do it this way. And I did it. Okay, that's success because I did it. It's not about how many people subscribe. It's not about, that's about what you're going to get back in return. But at this point, it's about me knowing that I'm a person who procrastinates, that starts stuff, and I stop stuff. And that's my definition.
You gotta be careful. What's up?
Right now at this point. And so that's what you got to push through, is that understanding what is my definition of success. Is it based upon other people? Then I wouldn't say that's really truly success. It's about, again, you doing something, you putting it out there, and then letting the universe do its job, which is to go ahead and to bring the people and do whatever that it is. Your intentions is what's also that. Are you doing it for the money? Are you doing it for the fame? Are you doing it for that? You know, spirit knows, the universe knows what you're capable of, and it's going to push you there. So let's not look about you being out there and then you're in the limelight about that, because then that would make me saying, okay, are you in this for ego? Are you looking for it to be Beyonce in the twin flame community? I mean, I don't know what the business is, but my thing is, that would make me do a question mark. Like, I need to reassess and check myself, because again, I'm looking at it from the wrong aspect as far as why am I getting into this. That's what the ego is coming to protect you. It's like, nah, child, we ain't gonna blow up that big like that. We got to take it this. So you have to kind of watch that. It's something in that language about the limelight is telling me again, what's your intentions? They keep on saying, what's her intentions? What's her intentions? What's her intentions with that as well. Okay, so that's it. Just go out there and just do it. Perfect or not, don't worry about it. Just go out there and do it. Okay, speaking of doing that stuff, what's happening in the community chat? Let's wrap it up. I'll take it. Kathy D, what's happening with you? You got anything happening?
By the middle of this month, I will have my course online and my workshop. So I will give out that information next week.
Okay.
So we're going to be working on some of that. And actually, I'm going to be giving a little bit of a preview, kind of some hints to it, and a little taste of it on Sunday at the Double Down for Love. So sorry, I've got a million things going on behind me. And so you'll get kind of a little bit of a preview to what the class is going to be and the course, and going to be working that way through it. So
okay, all right then. I'm excited about that. Okay. All right. And April, what you got going over
there? I've got my packages up for the Yoni steaming blends. I will be
Is she frozen?
I think so.
Okay.
Am I still on?
Hello?
We can hear you, but you're not moving. You do a great mannequin.
You're frozen.
Right. Yes.
Oh, Lord.
That's all right. We hear you, though.
Hello? Am I still there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
The power went out over here. That's why I don't know what's going on right now. Man. Okay, I gotta go figure this out. Retrograde.
And as the retrograde energy sweeps her up,
I'm just gonna sign out though. Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember you were made for this golden life.
All right, Ken. All right, and then don't forget, please, to make sure that you come to the Doubling Down on Love event this Sunday. Here it is. You want more information about that? It's free. You don't really have to check in and do anything. That we got fabulous giveaways. I've been plugging that on Instagram. I plugged it in the community tab. All these things people are giving away: books, journals, sessions. I mean, just to make sure, and you don't have to do this time. Is no money have to be exchanged. All you got to do is make comments all through the event, and that way you will get put into the drawing. That's all you have to do. So again, and we're going to have yoga there too as well. So it's going to be a fun-filled event on Sunday as well. So make sure that you show up and show out on Sunday, because this is free. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell anybody about, oh, everybody's gone. It's just me. Tell anybody about what's going on. Make sure that you click like, share, and subscribe on this channel as well, so we can get more people over here to see about what great things we're doing at the playground experience. Okay. All right, then. Thank you so very much for everybody that's in the Sunshine Lounge. I mean, the playground experience. I forgot. I'm mixing up channels. Okay, Lori, Charm. I'd like to do my shout outs. Mimi, Tammy, Samuel. He was here earlier. Lori S. as usual. So thank you so very much for coming and hanging out. Tell people about the great things that we're doing over here, and also. No, it's not on Zoom. It's on my channel. It's on Divine Unisouls 11. No Zoom. It's free, right? We're just gonna have a live, YouTube live. Okay. So you can be able to check that out. So that's it. So if you're friends with me on Instagram, you see me advertise for it. Look in my community tab too. I'm talking about it there too. It's 2 p.m. Central Time. 2 p.m. Central Time is free. Just bring your consciousness, a notebook, because you're gonna be taking lots of notes, and a yoga mat. That's all. Okay. All right. See you all Sunday. And as always, stay uplifted. Oh, what she say? Get your pails, get your shovels, leave the park the way it was before you came at the beginning. And as always, have a wonderful life. And this is a golden life. All that good stuff. And as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste and namago. Love you. I tried to sub in for both of them. I don't know how I did, but anyway, I'll see you next time.